Welcome to the Pinkhurst Podcast, a real and whimsical look at what it means to be fully alive with all the joy and chaos and pressure and vulnerability and beauty. Take the ride along with unexpected guests and be inspired to fall in love with your own unique destiny and meaning. In this episode, Zach and Camille Tredoux make sure each other's costumes are on straight and wonder, what do we do with these voices we're all given? Discover how death, be it a subtle reminder from this aptly named podcast or losing a loved one, has a profound impact on shaping our life. Buckle up and check your blind spots.
Courting myself, the librarian hands me books. Perhaps you'll find some clues in there. On cue, I fall in love with her, and then the books themselves, the silence of the space. Like a duckling born without its mom, I imprint on one thing after another. Follow, unfollow, until it's a cloud I chase after, off of a jagged plateau. I guess this is goodbye. I think you know what happens next. An educated guess, at least. The stranger and the one I thought was me reverse, and words fall short. This episode is sponsored by Intimate Distance, a Vacuna wool phone cover stuffed with cloudy soft cotton that will allow you to literally snuggle up to whoever is on the other end of the line. Tired of feeling the cold mechanical barrier between you and your phone mate? Purchase an Intimate Distance snuggle sleeve now, and in no time you'll be rubbing their voice all over your body and face. For a limited time, Intimate Distance will include an extra sleeve for any ding-dong friends that have an Android, as well as an ASMR app that exclusively samples the soothing sounds of real humans hugging, so you can imagine it's you while using your Intimate Distance device, without having to deal with the awkwardness of flesh. P.S. If everyone was brave, they would get off of their phones and social media, seeing as the bigwigs could care less. But since we're monkeys with our hands stuck in the old banana coconut trap, might as well snuggle up. Too many words. They all fall short. Our guest today is Camille Tredoux. I think it's Tredoux. Is it Tredoux?
It's Tredoux.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, you had it right.
I was right the first time. Singer, artist, musician, lyricist, poet, magazine curator, and of course a mystery. And also my bandmate in a crew, a weird family called Little Mother. What's up, my friend?
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm really happy to be here with you. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy we're finally doing this. I know we've kind of had to wait for the right timing, so I'm glad this is happening.
I feel the same. And we met through the podcast sort of with the Bloom series, so
Yes.
It's a full circle moment.
It really is, actually. We did meet through that podcast, and so much has happened since then. Oh my gosh.
I know so much. And then I heard your song Whimsy,
Mm-hmm.
and really just goosebumps and blown away. I remember sending it to a couple of my friends involved in Channel the Sun. And yeah, and then hearing Jarrell, our other bandmate, and just in my head imagining all of us together. Fast forward, Little Mother, fast forward. You've just been on a really intense adventure, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, yes.
So before we dive, recently I was sent an envelope, Tredoux. Banned, this show is banned in Florida. My goal is to get banned in Florida, by the way.
That's a compliment. That would be great.
I want to do a Little Mother song in our crew called Banned in Florida, featuring a band in Florida.
That'd be great. Oh my God. You know you're doing something right if you get banned in Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the Diary of Anne Frank just got banned in Florida.
What?
Isn't that crazy? 1984 got banned in Florida.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty funny.
Okay.
So,
oh man.
So I was sent this envelope full of handwritten Post-it note quotes from a dear friend named Ruth Strasberg, who's 81, and like me, has been collecting wisdom quotes for her whole life.
Mm-hmm.
She knows how much writing and quotes mean to me. And so she sent me this collection, which is a treasure trove. And each episode now I reach in and pull one out instinctually to see. The one that came out is by Krishnamurti. And the quote is, "Life begins where thoughts ends. Life begins where thought ends." But then I got a little greedy and I said, okay, I like that, but let me see a few more from Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
"Here is my secret. I don't mind what happens." That one I really like. And these last two. "The greater the outward show, the greater the inward poverty." And the final one. "Freedom is to be a light to oneself." So on that note, we'll take a little ride in the hearse. And yeah, I'm just really excited. I know, again, you've been on this journey that a lot of people don't go on. And when I met you, I immediately just felt the resonance of a soul, a poet, an artist, someone seeking or, resonating, shining, radiating your truth. And so for you to have been brought onto The Voice, the big show, the big circus, it's awesome because it just seems, I don't know, to get that close into the fluorescentness.
Yeah.
It's just really cool. So
Thank you.
We can talk about that as much as you want.
Yeah. Oh, where do I start? First of all, those quotes, I resonate with all of those very much. I have a song I always start my sets with when I perform called "Freedom is a Clear Mind." That's the first song I ever play when I do a show. And it's talking about this day I went to the beach after Thanksgiving. And I felt like my mind was I woke up with so much anxiety and rumination. And so I went to the beach to go clear my head. And this phrase, "freedom is a clear mind," kept playing in my head. And this idea that there's really no usefulness in thinking all the time, but rather being still and allowing ideas and thoughts to just appear and then just going with it. So I definitely resonate with that because as an overthinker my whole life, that's been a battle for sure because it just slows you down. At least for me, a perfectionist.
100%.
Yeah.
I love that distinction, though, of quieting to then listen. Because, like when things get real, paradox and nuance are often the elements that are lacking in most conversation in today's world, it seems.
Yeah.
So, life begins where thought ends. At first, if you don't smell that out a little or investigate, it could say, oh, what is that? What does that mean? But you said it perfectly. By stilling the mind, we can then hear perhaps the soul, perhaps the mystery, and then the ideas that arrive are from elsewhere and they're not being generated by the monkey mind. Shout out to the monkeys, though, but no disrespect.
Yeah, the ego can't get a hold of it as much.
Exactly.
But I think that's what really has helped me get to The Voice is a very big dedication to figuring out who I am, which is a soul having a human experience in my belief. And when I really had that click with me, I realized how much abundance there actually is around us and that I have more resources than I think from an internal space. And to be able to now get on The Voice and share my story as somebody who is very spiritually minded and has gone through a lot, it felt like I was just very grateful to have a platform to be able to do that because I know not a lot of people get to share these ideas on such a big stage.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So it's been nothing but gratitude. I'm like, wow, it's just a proof to me that when you follow your soul's calling, like the universe does support it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So one of the first thoughts as I was a few months ago, before The Voice, before all of that, I wrote this episode and then we had things happen. But like I mentioned before we recorded, it feels very timeless, this map. So I'm going to honor that. In the beginning poem, I reference, the stranger and I reversing as I fall off the cliff. What is the stranger and courting yourself evoke in you? So the kind of familiar stranger, perhaps it's the one who does speak when we quiet our minds. Perhaps it's when Rumi says, the radiant one in me has never said a word. Perhaps it's whatever you want to say, the opposite of the ego, or what is that dance? And you just spoke to it, finding yourself going through so much to then be able to be in a position like the voice or a platform and speaking truly. So yeah, that journey of courting yourself, shedding what's not.
Yeah. For me, I'd say the stranger is definitely just pure awareness. It's the part of me that's just watching everything with like neutrality and just taking the world in and isn't trying to filter it through these concepts I have about my life story, who I am, whether it's a sister, a daughter, a runner, a singer. Like it's just like the person behind it or the awareness behind it. And so once I started connecting with that, it was just more of this feeling of what does my heart tell me it wants to do? Because I always either pick between, it's usually up in the brain, what I mentally think I need to be doing. And so this process of learning about myself has been trying to like connect the heart and the mind a lot, and just observing my energy and my feelings when I'm in a space that feels authentic and right. So yeah, I think courting myself has really just been feeling my feelings, feeling my body, my nervous system, like allowing my body and my heart to tell me what feels good to it, really. And not always trying to come up with some like logical reason why that's wrong or why it won't work. Yeah. I feel like I out-logic myself. A lot of us do. And sometimes it's way more simple. Like everything I've gotten to now has already been my truth since I was like 5 years old.
For real though. Absolutely. Yeah. What is the line between what you just said, the body as wisdom, the body as it'll tell you it knows, and then also the inevitable human ailments and discomforts that in my experience can be conflated? Like I had really bad allergies the past few days and it was hard to breathe. There's a part of me that says, am I doing things in my life that have caused this? Is this a punishment? Is this a recalibration? Which I think can be slippery, if that makes sense. So I think it's a fine line between, there's a difference. It doesn't mean because you get a cold, you're being punished. It doesn't mean because your stomach hurts that you're, or even fear, when is fear something to breathe through? And when is it like a soul wisdom saying, this isn't for us right now, your experience with that?
For me, it's about being present, and it's not about extrapolating and taking like a cold and saying this is a punishment. Listening to the body is in this moment, which is all that exists, is the present. I don't feel good. So if I'm following my intuition, then I should probably rest, because then once I rest, I can continue on my path. So it's not about what does this mean for the past or the future. It's like, what does it mean right now? And then honoring the present moment. So your body's telling you something's causing me an ailment. Can you please help me so that I can continue? So that's more for me what I've been trying to do.
And that's the feeling your feelings as the path to the 5-year-old truth of yourself. It's like just listening. Sometimes I think as a married man, as a family man, in the past, I've wanted to, especially as a poet, a writer, a reader, I want to have an answer or a cure for every, grief or moment sometimes. And I realize now it is just about listening. It's not even about fixing. Maybe the headache just wants to say, man, my head hurt. I'm tired. Okay. I hear you. I love you. Yeah, I love that. So we talked a while back about Sisu. You remember that? You remember Sisu from the Michael Mead episode? Yeah, and when we were creating the album, The Little Mother Project, I sent you kind of the breakdown of Sisu. In a nutshell, creating when the environment appears to be bleak. And it's slipping my mind of where the country, it was Iceland, I don't know. Anyway, it was a time when war, some sort of situation. It was a bleak time, but people were still going to go for it. We're still going to shine, even with no hope for an outcome that's favorable. Sisu. And to me, Sisu is like what it's all about, especially these days. So what is that for you? Obviously, now you do have a moment where things are moving in a way that I'm sure is very exciting and inspiring and opportunities, but you've been doing this a long time with or without that affirmation. So what is Sisu like in your life?
Yeah, I love that concept. It's so cool. I'd say for me, for one, creation has always been a part of just who I am. Like when I think of Camille, I think of a creator, a conscious creator all the time. And so whether my life has been in a difficult place or a good place, I'm usually creating nonetheless. However, I've gone through a lot of periods where, when you're feeling depressed and hopeless, I don't want to get up and go sit by my piano and write a song and feel like this pressure to encapsulate it into a 3-minute song. Like, it's just like, I don't know. For me, I've done something that like Joni Mitchell talks about is crop rotation. And it's not always, let's say, writing a song on piano. Maybe instead it's painting for a few months, or maybe it's writing for a few months. And so what's really helped me during bleak times in my life, again, it kind of is going to keep going back to this, is what do I actually feel like doing right now? And if it's not singing, it might be writing. So earlier this year, things were really, really, really some of the darkest months of my life with my family. And I didn't write any music for months. Almost actually the past year, I had a lot of writer's block with singing. So I started writing a book I'm working on instead. And I just journaled and wrote. And that felt like it fed my soul a lot more. It's just poured out of me. And I didn't put this pressure on myself to, I'm failing because I'm not writing music. So again, it's this like, what do I naturally want to be doing right now? And it's all creation. There's just different forms of it. And I always say, like, there's a song always brewing in my subconscious, even if it takes a year to come out.
100%. I've been noticing that a lot. Recently, projects I've been working on for years and years all seem to be sprouting, blossoming. I love the crop rotation. I've often envisioned creativity like agriculture in that sense. And my friend, Dr. Erin McMorrow, dear friend of mine, she was on, I think, the 5th episode we ever did called Nectar. And a lot of her work is about healing the soil. And just that literally and metaphorically, the way that we rape the earth, if you will, and how we do that to ourselves creatively, and we're just expecting and we want more and it becomes barren. So just allowing that fermentation, that rot, things that might be, anyway, I love that.
I love that analogy too, what you just said. I hadn't thought about it that way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is like a continuation of that Sisu idea. It's obviously a play on words, but I guess the voice, I almost hit my nose on the mic and scared myself with my eyes closed. I am the little duckling who imprints and gets scared of his own shadow. The voice versus the voiceless. So the same idea, having that voice on the voice, having a voice on the voice, but knowing kind of the outside world doesn't even exist at a certain level. Perhaps if Maya and the Grand Illusion and a lot of the mythologies are accurate in their estimation that the inner world is, the invisible world is the realer world. So what is that? I don't even know what the question is. Just the voice versus the voiceless. What is that? Does that evoke anything in you?
It definitely, I might take it a different route than you might be thinking, but while I was on the show, a lot of my interviews, I did talk about how there are so many people who do not have a voice to speak. And so even though it might not be my role, I felt a calling to really keep reiterating the importance to me that I do get to have a platform and the ability to share my story when so many people aren't even treated like humans right now. Not only do they not get to share their story, they don't get to eat. They
Mm.
don't get human dignity. And I just think for me, I always try to contextualize the position I'm in because a lot of it's just pure luck. Yeah, I've worked hard, but I happen to be born, in a country that isn't going through a genocide, and I'm not suffering the way so many people are suffering right now. So I feel like you don't need to, but I feel like I always want to remind myself of how blessed I am and then take that blessing and bring attention to the voiceless.
Mm.
Uh, that's why since I was 13 years old, I was a plant-based activist, and I was doing
Mm.
cooking classes and going to farm sanctuaries, and grew up in South Africa, and we would go build schools for a lot of children and who lived in shacks. I talked a lot about that on The Voice. So for me, my life story, especially with my parents, we've always focused on how can we give a voice to those who haven't been allowed to speak, or how can we provide for them. So that's how I resonate with it. Definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. Really amazing. And I want to get more into your story as this conversation unfolds. The way we met, forgot the exact question for that Broken Man Wilting in Full Bloom project that I had sent to you, but I know that was when I found out that you lost your father, and after that, just feeling this kind of tug toward going for your heart's dream as opposed to the logical dream, and all of that kind of stuff. And then you've revealed certain things about, social stuff that's been really uncomfortable growing up. And I almost wrote a fake ad about bullying bullies, but I didn't. I figured I'd stay with the snuggle sleeve. But yeah, that whole journey, I'd love to. Yeah, why not? Let's do it right now. What can you talk a little bit about your journey?
Yeah. So I'll try to keep it as quantified as I can, but yeah, I grew up in Romania and South Africa. My father's side of the family is all Afrikaans, South African. My parents were missionaries for a while, so that's why we were in Romania. And they were doing leadership development all over Europe. And so from time I was born till about 13, I was in Europe and then mostly South Africa. And so South Africa, of course, is the most incredible country ever. I love it there, the food, the people. But you are faced with seeing a lot of like very obvious poverty around you, as well as like some of the most wealthy people ever. So you have that dichotomy all the time. Driving down the street and there's, people begging on the side of the road, and then there's like a mansion. So it's very, it definitely opens your eyes to the reality of life. And then we moved to Colorado. We moved back over here, and my parents were like that power couple, so passionate about helping people, and just true activists, really, in every sense of the way. In many different realms, if they were passionate about something they felt was injustice, they really told us to go do something about it. So always had a very justice oriented family. So we're all pretty fiery, and like we feel a lot about things. And my father was just like this Afrikaans big guy and a major triathlete and runner. And he hosted his own 200-mile gravel bike race that we had people come and do. So he was an opera singer and a writer and a painter. So just kind of like a true Renaissance man. And I think his passing, once he got sick, he had diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. And he had something called the MYC gene, which is a very rare mutation that basically like all his DNA cells were just changed to only create cancer cells. So he was 50 when he was diagnosed, and he died within 16 months. And he had gone from right before he was diagnosed, he had just done the Pikes Peak Marathon. So, for me, my father was like my hero and a picture of health. And so seeing him deteriorate so quickly, the reason I think it pushed me so hard to change my trajectory, because I wanted to go to law school and I was a cross-country runner in college, was because when the person who represents, like, in my opinion, he seemed like he would never die. Like, your father, your parents, they seem immortal almost. And then all of a sudden he's dead within a year and a half. I was like, oh, I don't I don't know when my time could come. It's any moment. So it just, I think, broke that childhood innocence in me. The day he died was the day I was no longer a kid, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is like, time is limited. But it's been the biggest blessing, because now here I am 3 years later, and I'm not taking anything for granted, and time is your most valuable resource. And his last words to me were literally, you have to go pursue music. You need to do this. You stop being afraid. You please. He begged me and kind of sternly told me over the phone. It was like his last, he was kind of like, I was like, are you mad at me, Dad? Like, what's going on? And he went into a coma 8 hours after this conversation, but he was so coherent. And he bought me this mic I'm using right now and some gear to be able to start recording demos. And then he passed away. So yeah, and then after he passed, my youngest brother, he has schizoaffective disorder. We didn't realize, but often boys around 20 years old, that's when psychosis can start. And it was triggered by the amount of stress he was under. So I became his legal guardian, because we were living in the same city, just us two. And that's been a 3-year battle where he's almost passed away many times, and we're still in the middle of it. But yeah, everything just kind of turned upside down. So I feel like many people they turn to music and creation to lift themselves out of it. And even though it's been really hard, I feel like I am the best I've ever been as a human, because you can't help but become a more empathetic, compassionate person, because they're like, oh, people probably when they see me don't think I'm going through these things, but I am, because I present very happy. And then it makes you think, what are other people going through? You have no idea. So you just can't, it's the age old thing, but you can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah,
For real.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a very quick run through, but it just cracked my heart open. And now I feel like I'm in a space where I feel people's feelings so deeply. I have to almost protect myself, because
for sure.
Yeah, but that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah.
Well, I can imagine going through the roller coaster excitement of the voice that your dad was right with you the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, his presence was strong.
And that's something that I've found resonant with people passing. In some ways, they can become closer. Obviously, it's way different, so it's not to bypass that. But there can be I'm always here, I'm always with you whenever, Yes. So that's interesting as well.
Yeah.
There's a quote that's coming to my mind from Mark Twain that I found the other day in Ruth's envelope. Are you so unobservant as not to have found out that sanity and happiness are an impossible combination? You know that one?
Yeah.
I love that, because what you're describing to me is, if you believe that this world and this body is all there is, and your whole work is trying to put out fires that are, impeding upon your little material existence, and you're clinging to everyone you love and the belongings and et cetera, then you're in for a fucking hell of a ride.
Yeah.
But of course, that is part of our nature, is to survive and all that. But when bad, also Sufis say bad things are good because they wake us up, that kind of idea, So it does feel like losing your mind via grief, and not in a psychosis form, because I have experience with that, and I mean that very respectfully, but I do think you have to kind of lose the mind that you inherited in this world, in this society, to find that liberation, which is something you have to continue fighting for, but is a more timeless, kind of mystical, kind of gleeful, like whirling dervish, Rumi kind of vibe.
Yes.
And what the other quote that I was going to pair it with is my friend Ruth, the woman who sent me the quote. She said, in her words, maybe enlightenment is only the willingness to be fully human. And that really resonates with me.
Yes. Yeah. Because a lot of times I think in these pursuits of liberating the soul and whatnot, we also forget that we are here to have a human experience.
Exactly.
And to be human. And but being a human is a spiritual experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's where I've gotten now.
The paradox.
Yeah. The paradox.
Well, I don't know. Now I don't remember where this came from, but it may have been from something you wrote. But victim as villain. Did you
Mm.
say something about that?
Yes, I think I wrote about that on an Instagram post or something.
So I was
Yeah.
curious about that, your experience with this. And maybe that just
Mm.
ties in a bit to, again, I don't want to speak for you, but bullying or being a victim of bullying and that kind of journey. If there's anything you want to say in the name of giving voice to the voiceless, it doesn't
Yes.
have to be so, about whatever you want, but yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yes, I mean, there's so many angles I've experienced throughout my life, partly because I lived both in America and South Africa. I was always the international kid and
Yeah.
didn't quite fit in. So I drew a lot of attention.
Mhm.
And I'm starting to undergo kind of figuring out getting diagnosed with autism. Something I've only just recently in the past 2 years started to learn about myself is that I'm likely autistic. And so when you don't, as a girl, especially the way autism presents is very different than how it often presents in young boys. So you take like being this international young autistic girl, it unfortunately brought upon me different bullying scenarios, both with teachers, very traumatic events with public humiliation with some teachers in South Africa. And then in my cross country team in college, unfortunately, one of the guys on the team who was known to kind of harass women, he was trying to do that with me. I told some of the girls on the team captain, and they didn't do anything about it. And they just said to go along with it, even because he's one of the fastest guys on the team, why not? And once he found out I told people, he was just started to spread all these horrible rumors about me and tell everyone to hate me. And just that's why the victim is the villain came out, because I was a victim of sexual harassment, really. And somehow I was the bad guy. And you see this a lot with people who either are sexually assaulted or harassed. And it's just a really great way to allow uh, a terrible kind of system that was occurring in that situation and in lots of situations to continue, is to not deal with the core problem, like the disease that's going on, which in my cross country team was a lot of misogyny and emphasis on being fast. Uh, that's what gave the team some sort of strength in their mind, I think, is like this tough macho, even for the women on the team. Like the motto was be tough no matter what. Like that was what we all said, which is great for running, but also then what happens when there are like real issues occurring? It was just sweep it under the rug. And if you say anything, you're the problem. And I think that just happens to so many victims of bullying and whatnot. People say, well, why didn't you say anything? But you say something and then people don't believe you. And that's why like the Me Too movement was such a big thing. So you're just put in this weird position. And I've had other stories I won't get into of similar stuff happening. I think for me, what I noticed, what's interesting is I think when you are someone who, I don't know if you could say naive, but growing up internationally and with parents, my father was a pastor. My life was filled with a lot of like assuming that everybody has good intentions. And I'm very open, and I present with like, I meet people with a lot of love, and I hadn't learned boundaries yet. And then I think people unconsciously will take advantage of that, and you get roped into these weird situations. And that's happened a lot in my life, which is why I've really had to learn discernment. And it's not about not loving everyone. You can like respect everyone, but you don't have to bring them into your energy field. So that's been like a huge lesson for me, is protecting my peace. And like that's also not my job to heal everybody. But that's also part of the ego thing, I think, of thinking I'm not enough unless I am doing something for someone. And the voice and all this has been great because it was also for the first time about just me and being celebrated for being the person I am. And it wasn't because I was doing anything for anyone. It was just because I was Camille. And I even experienced that with the friendships I made, where they were just the best friends I've ever made. It was the first time in my life, because the voice draws a certain kind of person. And so there was like 85 of us. We all had the same kind of similar thing. We're all there because we're willing to be seen and we're willing to sing. And a lot of people had very intense stories. hardship and trauma. And so it was just the first time where I didn't have to put on any sort of mask, nothing. And people just would walk up to me and say, "You're so awesome, Camille." And then they walk away. And I'd be like, I've never had this before. Like,
wow.
To just be so celebrated. So it's been such a cool full circle to see the more I actually give to myself and just am, the less I actually get targeted. So
interesting.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating ride. So that's a lot. There's a lot of nuance to all of it, but
totally,
that's a bit of the story.
Yeah, there's a lot of places my mind can go. It's nice to just listen. I appreciate you saying all of that.
Yeah.
I do feel that there's, not to use words like patriarchal, overused words, but there is kind of this phallic. I mean, you can trace it back to times when the earth goddesses or the nature deities were literally bad-mouthed, like almost like that dude shaming you or spreading rumors. Spread rumors, that's when like the witch became bad or voodoo became bad or these things become bad. Tom Robbins in Skinny Legs and All, which is kind of a theme for our album, that book. It's all about inanimate objects and the ongoing war in the Middle East, Jerusalem. But he talks about Jezebel, which often is used as a shaming term. But when you go back to the roots of Jezebel's story, she was an honorable, dignified, conservative. I mean, she was not what people... Anyway, there's so many times when it became this abstract sky father, tame nature, iron sharpens iron, even these phrases that people will say, and I get it, but I'm like, I actually am more interested in, I don't know what it is yet, but the something softens something. I want to get softer. I don't want to get harder. I don't want to get faster. I want to get slower. Because when I'm slow, then I am faster because I see where to go. You know what I mean? Instead of racing ahead. There's just so, and that's what Little Mother is all about, our band, our crew, is that reversal. Yes. But I really, a lot to unpack in there, which we can allow the listeners to do themselves. But I love that, noticing the kind of more you are, embodying the you, which also comes with kind of forgetting about yourself in a weird way, right?
Yeah,
like getting
really,
out of the way and just being. Then the less you are a target. And it really is, when I'm worried about what people might think about me, I'm attracting that, or I'm just in my flow and I'm somewhat invisible, and it's more about the twinkle or the smile. It's not about XYZ. So beautiful. Let's see. We spoke about losing your father and that being motivation. There's something I wanted to talk about, which was whimsy, which is one of my favorite words and states of being. And so not only about the song, which everyone should go listen to, but can you speak to your relationship with the word whimsy?
Yes. Yeah. Whimsy for me it's almost like a magical romanticism of life that allows for little moments of magic to appear in your life. So I wrote it because my father in my mind was a very whimsical person, and I got that from him, and my mother. There was always like this, like you said, this twinkle in our eyes of there's like a little fairy along the way. And if you take a moment and slow down, you might just catch it. And so when I was younger and when I'm in that kind of present state, it's amazing the amount of weird little synchronicities. I could talk for 5 hours about the crazy things that you see in reality that we miss because there's so much going on that we don't notice that's occurring around us at all times. But when you have this like whimsical mindset, I think there's just a way of being that allows for that to show itself to you. And then you have this life that's like a little bit more just sparkly and you attract magical experiences. And so for me, that's definitely, I always have felt like there's a bit of a magical quality to my life. Things just kind of happen. But it's because I used to be obsessed with fairies when I was little. Like, I mean, obsessed. So I think I've always,
you better bring that back in Little Mother. Morgan's working on a top secret myth about river people and this river character that she, is perhaps just the rivers. So I think the fairies and the rivers, Little Mother is wanting that to happen.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But I love everything you just said. It reminds me of the quote by Krishnamurti, "Here is my secret. I don't mind what happens." Whimsy feels unattached. Whimsy feels no agenda. And I think agenda spooks the fairies. When you're coming in like with this, like, I need something or whatever, it's like you're scaring away the fairies, which are products of immortality and infinity, you know, beyond the physical. So it's like in the game of infinity, why would you come with such desperation and rush? Like, you know, but of course we're here and that's part of the lesson. So it's not to shame the parts of us that do get caught in that, but returning to that whimsy, spontaneity. That's why I love gibberish, playfulness, you know, not taking yourself so seriously. So
you're very whimsical. I mean,
I'm a whimsical man.
You're a whimsical man.
you know, in the book, in the Little Mother book, there's like I just thought of it, but you know, like serious funny bone injuries. Like that's an important sentence for me, just to say serious funny bone injuries. They're not a joke, you know.
I love that so much. Serious funny bone.
That's a serious, yeah, exactly. Anyway, no, I think I went through the martyr phases. I went from my version of like childhood magic fairy tale, Waldorf. We are spinning in outer space in this mystery and we're a part of it. And there's a great responsibility, but it's light and there's Narnia and Aslan's got it all under control. But there's, you know, there are going to be our challenges, but Reepicheep is right there to fucking swing his sword and talk shit.
Yeah.
And then growing up in New York, moving out of that, September 11th was my first day of high school at a new school. Felt very symbolic. I too have had a magical life, you know, going to Tanzania with one of the last hunter-gatherer tribes, staying with a witch doctor.
Oh my gosh.
Weird stuff has happened. But when I fell out of the Waldorf nest, if you will, or the fairy tale space, the collision of that with New York and the suffering, the insane suffering, I took that into very intense artistry, you know, very much like I'm here to help, I'm here to save, I'm here to rage against the machine. And now when I met you, I was coming out, as I said, of like stepping away from social media, letting it all go. I'll be 39 in November. I wrote a line. You haven't heard this one yet on the album. I can't wait for our meeting on Monday with the whole gang, the family that's gathered. But there's a line where I just say, like, I'm bald. I'm basically Samson balding. Like if Samson started to bald, that's me. You know what I mean? I don't have the strength anymore, but that's a blessing. It's like when Icarus becomes Daedalus. But he always will have his Icarus history. But when I met you, I let go of everything, got sober. And that's where my whimsy has come from. Or it's always been there, but that's where, and now you see the silliness in the...
Yes.
But it's dead serious, but we're holding it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just playfully and not squeezing the fairies, so...
That's where I think that's why artists are so important, because I think a lot of us come into this life with this energy of the other and this beauty, but we have to see the reality of living in the third dimension, which is there's suffering and pain and things take time. We don't get things right away like you would if you're in the heavens.
Exactly.
But then once you combine it all, we can do good work.
And there's, it's like the duality, you know, I've heard that the spirits up there, wherever they are lining up for this experience. But then in the same breath, I've heard the joke, if people knew the truth, they would cry at birth and laugh at death. So it's both. Like, I think souls want to come here. This is incredible. And it's awesome when they get released and get to go, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? Okay, how about this? Analog in the modern world, slowing down time. We talked about that a bit. How to salvage soul in a TikTok tornado. You're doing that a bit. How do you salvage soul in a TikTok tornado?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. TikTok and social media is literally, I think, for all of us, the weirdest relationship ever, because I start to dip my toes in it and I feel like I'm being authentic, and then it feels very curated, and then I like run away because I'm like, darn it, and then I go back in. It's just kind of like many drafts of editing, almost in a way, just like showing up, trying to be me, and always trying to not get hung up on how many likes did it get, how much response. It's such a weird, like, I think the benefit of social media is like not taking yourself so seriously.
Totally.
And just like having fun with it. I mean, those are the people I'm drawn to online. That's the irony, are the ones who are just bold with it and do not give an F. Yeah. And there's going to be mistakes that come along the way, because inevitably, if you're a big personality, you might say something that doesn't quite land or whatever. But it's all in tandem with this journey of just letting go of how I want to be perceived and just being perceived, and people can take that and do what they want with it.
I was working on another fake ad because I was second guessing the ad I'd written a few months ago last night. And I was thinking of something like some AI hack, blame a hack company that will take responsibility for any post that you've done that you're embarrassed about and say that you've been hacked authentically. So you can present that to the world. Like, no, I literally was hacked. Anyway, it didn't work. But, it made an appearance just now. No, I agree. Tom Robbins in Half Asleep in Frog Pajamas, there's this beautiful relationship between two of the protagonists, one of whom is a young woman who is desperately trying to make her mark in the Wall Street world and feeling, she's Filipina, and she is a woman in a man's business, and she's just has that kind of like edge. She's trying to come up and living in that experience and frustration. And so she meets this guy who's like a legend in the Wall Street world, but he's left. And so he's like the bad boy of that. And he turns out he has cancer. They become friends, and he's kind of teasing her the whole time. Like, he's interested in space and aliens and Sirius star systems and the Bozo tribe in Africa and all these cool things. But the idea is, he tells her at one point that anything that you're obsessed with and you want, for her it was money, is like the trickster master who's whacking you on your path. And until you can take the whack and keep going, it's going to keep whacking you. And I think for artists, sometimes in this day and age, that social media / making it can be that, and so when we liberate, which is an ongoing thing, but it's everything you just said. It's an opportunity to wiggle, to play. And on that note, I'm thinking, so for me, Little Mother came from full surrender. I reached out to you and Jarrell. Kevin and I were ready to rock. You guys want to do it? You both are obviously a little bit imbalanced because you said yes. I'm waving a rubber devil duck. And you guys are like, sounds great. I'm like, really? You guys, okay. Something's wrong with them. My kind of people. But fast forward, it came from that surrender, and we talked a lot about that, and just like letting go of perfection and just really just being real and having fun. It started to get good, meaning we're 32 songs in. I'm hearing certain records that people are participating in that we've started, and it's really good. And I'm seeing reactions. And now there's a part of me that I'm aware of that says, oh shit, this is good. We need to, and it can quickly slip if I'm not careful into that. Came from the fairies. It was a fairy party. It was a fairy party, and it was amazing. And we recorded some of the fairies, and then in the daylight, I'm like, So my point is now, especially with where you are, how are you going to walk that? How do you plan to walk that? Success becoming paralyzing. Maybe you starting to question yourself, maybe decisions, because what if now that you have X, they say, oh, and you don't want to lose it. So then you start playing tiptoe and rigidity and you lose it. So how do you, what's your plan?
I'm right in the middle of it, because today's 2 weeks since I got home, and I have been, I'm not going to lie, in a bit of a panic. I told myself I'd take a week to fully rest, and that whole week, all I did was work on my new website, right? Yeah. And so this is the first time, because all you hear is like, you have to keep the momentum, the voice, like you've got like 4 months, and if you don't like jump on it, you lose all of it. Like, this is why I kept hearing while I was there. Everyone's like, you gotta like release music, blah, 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 blah. So right away, I started to feel myself get into that mindset. And thankfully, I, though, was like, that's still this old mindset. It's like a scarcity mindset.
I was about to say, it's the opposite of abundance. Yeah.
Yes, that I've been given this thing, and yet somehow now I'm almost in a worse place than I was before, according to everybody, because if I don't capitalize on it, it's ruined. And that's that capitalization of everything.
Mm.
Instead of, why can't the voice just be a celebration of how far I've come?
Mm.
And it's forever on my quote unquote musical resume. It's forever something I did.
Mm.
And for me, being an artist is a lifestyle. It's
Mm.
not, I know we have to survive, make money. And I think that's where things get complicated with social media and all this stuff, is like, part of it's just we're also trying to survive.
Yep.
So, but it's also like, if I'm doing music personally because I have to, literally I can't not do this because it's who I am, then it's okay if I have a couple months of downtime, because inevitably something will come up again that is aligned for me. And it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And hoping I live a long life, I will have many moments that are like this. And that's where that ego comes in, where I have to like prove to everyone that I can take the voice and keep it going. And that's this battle I'm fighting right now, is I have to go get my new band, I have to go perform. And then the other side of me that's more like, aligned, is like, you're fine. Like, you can just bask in this for a while. And obviously, me being me, I'm a hard worker. I'm going to make stuff happen. But yeah, it's this like back and forth of like, what's your why? Like, why did I do this? Why am I in this field? And is it to prove myself, which is something I still struggle with, all this bullying and all these people. I want to prove to them, like, see, you were wrong about me. Like, I got on The Voice, I'm performing, I'm on stage. But then you get stuck in this, like, I'm forever their slave of everything I do is to prove to them. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not really free. So I'm trying to remind myself, like, what is freedom for me? And for me, that's my family and having a nice dinner and spending time with those I love. And then when my body and soul is like ready truly for the next adventure, I go for it with all my fire and gusto. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
You're in the best place. And I think that's, if you can just saying that, knowing that, that's the only place to be. You got it. And we just dip in and out, but you got it for real. I know with Kevin talking about Little Mother, holding it lightly, I'm doing, like I said, maybe 8 projects, not all musical, but that I've been working on for years, are all coming together right now. And I'm going to school to get my master's, and I'm a dad homeschooling. And there's a part of me that says, wait, this is not possible. I can't do all this. But then I say, but I can if I hold it lightly, though. Like, I can if I trust the team, if I'm very decisive and I don't overthink everything. I already know what I'm, and so the idea that Kevin said is like, we hold it lightly, but we're fucking assassins with it. Like, we're going to make it the best, but then not try to be as unattached to the results as possible.
Yeah.
Make the website, get the band if that feels right. Mm-hmm. But know that the moment that clenching, that scarcity, it really will scare away. It might even work for some people in this reality for a time, but you're a slave to that, like you said, forever. You know what I mean? Instead of just trust fall for sure. Yeah. While still playing your role. Hope is dependent upon what you hope for. Amor fati, acceptance and a continuous return to your blue flame is an unending resource. I don't know where I got that. I don't know if that's from you or someone. I'm going to credit the ghosts, but let me read that one more time. That was on the map. Hope is dependent upon what you hope for. Amor fati, which is love your fate, acceptance and a continuous return to your blue flame is an unending resource. Is that, I mean, we can just leave that hanging there, but if it speaks to anything.
I mean, the blue flame, yeah, it's, I just finished reading Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda.
That's so funny. I just listened to a talk by Brother Anandamoy, who's one of his main students on Yogananda. He's been in my field a lot. Yogananda is awesome.
Oh, so that book's changed my life. Like, that book's been amazing. He's but a lot of it is talking about these yogis who, they forever they're very like youthful and energized even at an old age, because they're so in tune with that blue flame, that soul within them that never dies, never goes out. And it just makes me think of that we have like this internal. Let me take a step back. But a big part of like my mission as an artist is like, I want to tell people, like, again, you have everything you need within inside of you. And there's just this you're like this old soul that has had so much more experience than you even understand, and it's just in you. And if you just keep channeling inward, like you have an endless, infinite soul to explore and learn about, and it's like this journey forever. It's just yourself. And when you keep coming back that way instead of going out but bringing that in, it's like, yeah, it's just this eternal wellspring of water that keeps you alive, and you just keep creating and being. And that's why it really is like, I mean, that's why some of the happiest people have so little, because they just have themselves and they're happy.
Terrence McKenna apparently said that this whole life is basically us as souls making sure each other's costumes are on straight.
I love that.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, wait, are you being Camille? Like, okay, good. You're Camille in this role.
Yes.
As the ghosts clap or boo or whatever they do. I guess ghosts boo a lot, so you can't take it personally when you get booed by the ghosts. I love that though. And then this one, I don't know who wrote this. It's funny. I mean, it was me, obviously, but this one says, I don't care what anyone thinks. Or, I mean, I don't want to care what anyone thinks. I'm so tired of giving a fuck.
Yeah, that, oh gosh. If I had like a little poster board, I would say it on there. Yeah. I feel like it's everybody. It's
Winnie the Pooh, you know. It's like the 100-acre woods is all of us. I'm Tigger, I'm Owl, I'm Eeyore, it's you. Christopher Robin. Indigenously, you could take it down. I'm the acorn, I'm the tree, I'm the dirt. You know, you are all that. So yeah, I think befriending the part that is nervous about what people think is that one of the first steps. You don't want to battle him or try to bludgeon him, because the whack-a-mole situation will continue and multiply unless you befriend him.
That's why when you're a kid, you don't care. You're just taught to care.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when you're young, you're not even thinking about it. You're just being. And that's why, like, I know our stories are so important to us, but we also aren't our story. Like, we can use what has happened to us to do what we've said, go out and create and help those. But it also just isn't us. I think that's really helped me a lot, is like, I am not my thoughts. I am not the things that happen to me. Because again, I'm this conscious awareness that's just observing. I like to think I'm just observing Camille living. And I'm letting her go and do the things she came here to do. And then sometimes I over-identify with just being Camille, and I have to get back to like...
Of course, which makes it a good show, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The soul is more a perspective rather than a substance, and a viewpoint toward things rather than a thing itself. It's basically that the soul is trying to individuate through us rather than... It puts the soul as the key player beyond our identity. The Camille is more of the... channel through which the soul is coming. And to the soul sees through the wound, meaning it creates these issues and problems in order to see. So they're all intentional, so to speak, which also resonates a lot. Anyway, that was a rambly way of saying everyone, including you, I highly recommend The Archetypal Artist, Reimagining Creativity and the Call to Create by Mary Antonia Wood. Changed my life.
I'm going to look that up right after this.
It really changed my life. And it shows how, like, the muse, I call her the moody muse, like, she doesn't have answers. She's not here to give answers or solutions. She is wandery. She is, so when we're being asked to, okay, you have 4 months to fucking put it out and kill it and do it and butt it, like the real muse who our heroes really embodied. Like, now you can kind of AI plasticify sugary things, but the real stuff that stands the test of time, you can't approach it like that. So yeah, it just talks about the split and the schism between the ancient ways and the more modern ways, and how that has affected and continues to affect us micro, macro, and really is responsible for the fucked upness of the whole world right now is the loss of soul, straight up.
Yeah.
But it's exciting, and it's supposed to be that way. So I don't say that with like any pessimism. It's actually a perfect situation, and that's why it is what it is. So let's see. we already kind of covered when to say yes, when to say no, based off what you mentioned earlier with kind of body resonance. Is there anything else you'd want to say to that for other artists who are coming up or humans just trying to navigate that line, especially in a society that might, push us down by saying, no, the fastest guy in the team, you better say yes to his bullshit because otherwise you're out. Like knowing when to say yes, wielding your nose.
And for me, is it fear-based? Right. It's just, again, the why. Like, am I saying yes because I want to do this? And if I do want to do it, why do I have the desires I have? It's like you have to just really know yourself. That's why I think like you, if you're a student of yourself forever, you can start to trust yourself more. I feel like I used to really struggle with not trusting myself because I'd make these decisions and then have these weird outcomes. And I started to say like, oh, I can't depend on myself because every time I make a choice, it doesn't go the way I think. And some of that was just because that's just life. Obviously, you can't, if you make a decision, you have to accept something's going to happen. It may not be what you want. But it's also because I wasn't making decisions with real, like a conscious choice, really. It was just a programmed yes or no. And,
reactions.
Reactionary. I like this. I quote, what was it? Something about your power lies between the stimuli and the reaction and the moment in between before you do anything. That's where all your power is. And that's like that thing of slowing down. That's been huge for me, is that quick, brief moment before you do something is where you set the stage for yourself right afterwards. And you have all that power. So yeah.
Even in conversation, like I notice, like right there, I could leave space. I could really let the words come at their own time. But then there's like wait, you might lose the listener. You better fill up that space, cut the breath. Molly made a really interesting point that some of her tendencies, she might say like or She's not a fan of hearing herself say like or like most of us. But she wonders if it didn't come from, as a woman, being interrupted so much. You're just trying to keep the conversation to say, I'm not done. Because if she actually paused in a conversation to gather her words, someone would interject.
Yes. Wow. That's such an amazing observation. That's hitting me.
We should do a song called
We should.
Called Um's the Word.
Yes. Wow. I just have to sit with that. That's so true.
I know. She's really powerful. And she was diagnosed ADHD and put on Adderall and bullied by this really weird clique of gothy, mean kind of kids who like had guns and they would say, because she was a elite gymnast and had like a really fit physique, they would say she was a boy and like really like mean. And then she was shamed by teachers. So there's a similar, and what she found as a Leo is that being big is her nature. And I'm Sagittarius and our son's in Aries. So we're the three fires, which is insanity. You can imagine.
Yeah, I'm a Sagittarius too.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
When's your birthday again?
December 9th.
Yeah, I'm the 23rd of November.
Okay.
I'm right after Scorpio.
Yeah.
But yeah,
fire.
So we're all a lot of fire. We're all big energies. And Leo, you can't walk into a room with big energy and pretend you're not big energy, because people feel it and it's almost more annoying, like a lion pretending it's a kitten. Like be the lion that you are, and then you listen. You don't have to dominate, but acknowledge your bigness. Yeah. But she talked about when she started to tap into her bigness, those kind of things started happening, and then bigness became unsafe.
Yes. Wow. I want to talk to your wife. This is like, I relate so much to all of this.
She has a podcast that's on ice right now because after her brother passed a few months ago, things have all felt a little, it's back to that idea of creativity. Sometimes, maybe it's just in the ovens or the, process of grief and is silent, but we have an idea for a show and we'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
I'll be her jumper cables. You know me, I'm over here whispering to everyone. But I would love to hear you guys talk.
Great. That makes me think of, the whole lion thing. It's like when you embrace your bigness, I think there's this has happened to me in the past 3 years as I've started to try to embrace my big energy, is can go the other way. And I almost like when you haven't spoken up for so long, then I feel like I'm like speaking up all the time because I'm like learning how to be in this new energy.
Like the lion who finally learned to roar, and then they're just roaring
all the time. Yeah. But then I realized my mom told me, she's like, she didn't use a lion, but kind of same idea that when you are a big energy, like lions don't need to do anything. If a lion walked into a room, you're like, whoa, I'm gonna.
Exactly. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And my mom would always talk to me about lion's mind, which I don't know if that's Taoist or whatever, but if you imagine your thoughts as lion cubs and you are the lion, and say you're laying and the tundra is in front and you're the big lion, mother or father, and you're aware of everything for miles around. Like, you know that there's a gazelle there, you know any danger. You're like surveying, but you're just chilling. And your cubs are like, dad, 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 dad. And they're like jumping on you. And this, if the lion reacted to each one like, stop it, hey, what? They would be a mess. So lion's mind is like, let them play all over you. They're going to tire themselves out. And when it's time to hunt, you hunt. When it's time to roar, you roar. And now that we're in lion territory, there's three more lion things that just came in my head. One is an African proverb that basically says, until the lion learns to write, the stories will always glorify the hunter. That's dope. The other one is, I think it's St. Augustine or someone, truth is like a lion. You don't need to defend it. Set it loose and it will defend itself.
Yes, I've heard that one. And
the other one is that apparently lions, when they're hunting, one of their tactics is that old lions who aren't able to, hunt the same way, will form a line and roar toward the victim or the prey. Now the prey, in their fear, runs away from the roar and runs right into the jaws of the waiting young lion.
Oh my gosh.
So the idea of that is Michael Meade saying you should run toward the roar. Metaphorically, right? Because anyway, it's interesting.
Yeah. I love big cat energy. I'm obsessed with, you could do so many analogies. I watch tiger videos and lion videos on YouTube all the time.
That's amazing.
Because they're so fascinating. They're such incredible beings.
Do you have a cat?
I don't. I have my dog Sawyer. He's a lab. But I've had many a cat, and I want to get a cat soon.
Well, Juju, my dog, is in the band officially. His name is Juju, a.k.a. Juju.
Oh.
He's the only one who has I think. I almost named him a.k.a. Yes Please, because he would never say no to anything, treat-wise at least. But anyway, he's Juju, a.k.a. Juju, but we may need a cat, and Sawyer is definitely welcome in the crew.
Sawyer's a chiller.
He will have to do something, though, for real. Like, Juju has been sneezing and harumphing, and I've been recording his nails click-clacking for Kevin's percussion.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. Well, as we wind down this beautiful journey, there's a few, maybe two more inquiries, but I mean, synchronicity. I just looked down at the bottom of the document and look what I wrote. You can't even make this up. It's the Little Mother mantra, Feeling the Shoulder of the Lion by Rumi.
Oh my gosh.
So I'll read that and then we can say maybe a few more things and disappear. But this is the poem by Rumi. You know how it is. Sometimes we plan a trip to one place, but something takes us to another. When a horse is being broken, the trainer pulls it in many different directions so the horse will come to know what it is to be ridden. The most beautiful and alert horse is one completely attuned to the rider. God fixes a passionate desire in you and then disappoints you. God does that 100 times. God breaks the wings of one intention and then gives you another, cuts the rope of contriving, so you'll remember your dependence. But sometimes your plans work out. You feel fulfilled and in control. That's because if you were always failing, you might give up. But remember, it is by failures that lovers stay aware of how they are loved. Failure is the key to the kingdom within. Your prayer should be, break the legs of what I want to happen. Humiliate my desire. Eat me like candy. It's spring, and I finally have no will.
I needed
I
to
love
hear
that.
Yeah.
Break the legs of my desire, or humiliate my desire, eat me like candy. It's spring and finally I have no will.
Wow.
I love that.
That's one of the most beautiful quotes I've heard.
Yeah. Shout out to Rumi.
Oh gosh, Rumi.
And that's the Little Mother mantra, through all of this for me. I mean, there's many Little Mother mantras because we've joined the immortal family and we're all saying the same thing in different ways. But that, to return to that through it all is really important for me these days.
Yeah.
So, last two little ideas. Stop performing for the material world. What would happen if everything you did was solely for you? AKA the autistic godling, AKA your biggest fan, and perhaps the only one in the universe who gets every nuance of your genius. So that was a joke. First of all, telepathy tapes, you exploring your journey is that. We spoke about autism via telepathy tapes. The autistic God is because some lyrics in Little Mother that I've been writing are so inside jokey and complex that anyway, so I was telling Kevin, no one's going to get it. He said, well, that one autistic God is going to fucking love it. So yeah, just that journey now, a reiteration of the other inquiry to you about having this platform now, but staying committed to that weirdness. Is there anything else you want to say just about doing it for you, what that might look like? We've kind of covered it, so might be redundant.
Well, yeah, I think the more you commit to you, the more you tell other people they can as well. So, the more I just step into Camille and show her to the world, the more other people, I hope, especially young people, do the same. It's really just, for me, it's like in the quote you just read, the word love. Like, love, this is what I love about Yogananda. A lot of what he teaches is just about this love. Love is probably the biggest word for me in my life because I've really learned it's more than, a feeling. It's an action, a choice, a state of being. And that's what the world needs right now. And so the more I feel that I show off all the weird, kooky things about me, I'm showing a lot of self-love. And then other people show themselves more self-love. And then you start to have people, when you love yourself, what do? You can't help but love others. So I just think that's the answer. And we need to see examples of self-love, really.
We're rewriting the beauty standards. For some reason, it's making me think in college, I forgot which class, but they were tracking the evolution of beauty. And like at one point it was heavy. To be fatter or heavier, that's probably offensive. To be heavier was a sign of affluence and beauty. And then skin. So it's just funny. I think we have this opportunity, as always, throughout time to redefine beauty every moment.
Yes.
And we're at the tail end, hopefully, even though AI is jumping up, of just seeing through the exhaustion of trying to keep up this perfection. I heard something recently that, we have, I love the idea, I've known this for a while, that we always have an internal, eternal elder and an internal, eternal youth. And the goal is to kind of have them in harmony. But in our society that idolizes and fetishizes youth, plastic surgery, all the different ways, we are so disrespecting our inner elder that by the time we become physically elders, it's almost like they're so diminished, they're crippled. So you can't be an elder anymore. And vice versa, when we say, oh, these fucking kids, man, or they're so, you're disrespecting the fire of youth that's really powerful. So, and I just thought that's fascinating, man, because.
Yes, it's such a blessing to grow old. And it's such a blessing to be born and be a kid. It's so interesting as a society. We hate the idea of getting older. I'm like, you are lucky if you get to be old. Like,
for real. And it's powerful, the wisdom. I mean, just the wisdom that you can wield. And, I just often think about in certain cultures where the elders were revered feared a little bit, maybe respected, envied in a good, healthy way. All right, last flow. I have no idea what I was thinking about, but what I wrote was, speaking of nuance, it seems that we often operate in black and white thought when life is all paradox, nuance, and complexity. Nuance, same uncles, as they say. Who says that? Oh, no one. I do. This episode is sponsored by Nuance, Same Uncles, a dark web feminine program to help macho ding-dongs surrender. Wait, we already did the fake ad. What the? Okay, but in all seriousness, real men, people surrender the power of vulnerability. I see what I was trying to do there. So that ends in a question, inquiry around your experience of that surrender, which brings us back to the beginning. You've spoken a bit about that, but not iron sharpens iron, blue flame softens blue flame. I don't know what it is, but by surrendering, especially the men, right? Like the masculine is so exhausted. I can speak from my experience, but the masculine energy in the world has put itself in this position where it has to be that champion, that unrealistic David Goggins. God bless him, but Jesus Christ, man. Holy mackerel.
Yes.
So yeah, what's your final words on vulnerability and nuance, same uncles?
Well, I will say, whenever I feel the masculine energy in me, even though I identify as a woman, I think in the world this intense hypermasculinity energy affects all of us, and I get exhausted because it's usually that part of me that's go 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 go. And when I sit into the feminine energy that we all have within us, it's just this receiving energy. And I just sit and I'm just in stillness, and I just say what's meant for me will always come to me. I don't really need to, as we said from the beginning, overthink it. I just need to be it, and it's going to come and find me like everything always has, with a lot of ease and effortlessness. Just like how we met. There was almost no effort. It just happened. And here we are.
Man. And the whole album begins with the song Boo. And that there's a line in that where I say, accomplish this with no effort. I can't afford to invest in the desperateness. So that is the intention. We end where we begin. We know it for the first time. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you. Me too. Thank
Always
you so
empowering.
much.
Yeah, of course. And I'm just excited. Oh yeah, you just made me think there's a new line on the album. I say, Mother is King. The Mother is King. That's like where we're stepping into. That's what you made me just resonate with. I think the men, and it's all nuance again, the energies, but yeah, the masculine needs to be in service to a wisdom that is much more seasonal, much more crop rotation, much more surrendery, and much more aware of the massive mystery powers that we are not in control of. Yeah. And so we better sync our fucking cycles up. And pay respect. You know what I mean? All right, my friend, I will see you Monday on our first official Little Mother meeting. Thank you again.
Thank you
Godspeed.
so much.
It's Little Mother. It's Little Mother. It's Little Mother.
Shout out to the spider in the crates that we dug in. Don't wake her up, she's laying eggs and cuddling. That's why I stopped sampling Jainism, holding a candle in the rain, wick fizzling. Which planet is this? Anti-gravity, I drift, wax dripping up, and my dream is Sandman insists. Hammock over abyss, a blissful existence. Damn it, nah, I jinxed it. Angel's advocate, ambidextrous wrist, pen pals, a schizophrenic pencil enemies, bent out of shape, please erase it. Limping through the footnotes, marginalized. Looking for a good hook, harmonize. Not a word, but you know what I mean by go blank yourself. Good advice in the meantime. Took a right and I beeline to write honeycomb lines out in the dream time. Hive-minded, my queen reminds me to be myself, star tattooed knee rhymes. Russian mobsters who won't bow and bees knees lyrics from the spirits of Old Owl. Oh, wow.
Waxman doing his rain dance, calling on the Sandman. That flame caught me breaking my mother's back to not step on an errand. No, you won't catch me behind-handed, but you can catch me spinning webs. Sotto la D'Angelo. Waxman in a hat doing his rain dance. That flame calling on the keeping? Are you keeping it good? Be an angel, dear. Be an advocate. So to love, dear, don't you love?
Purge enemies, cleaning out my closet. First Simba code, getting rid of all this. Fresh pair of Nikes, stepping in some dog shit. No God, praying that the tribe realign with the pale fox that tribe revealed astronauts. Serious as me, I can see what you cannot. Naked I came unashamed, dancing outside in the rain, molding the pottery, pouring out poetry, going with the flow. Word wizardry, every spell I quote, devoted to the most. Pinnacle, identical, quite cynical, might be to you. Jump the broom, I assume it'll last. But unlike Keith, I ain't sweating your ass. Blast from the past, back to the future. All black DeLorean, came with a booster. Do this for the children.
Something in the makeup of the moment, giving myself rain in the chorus. I just want the original from the call it above. Something in the sacred of the spider I've been the fly.
Thinking back to the days I get smacked. That was yesterday, my memory fleeting, stay intact. I feel attacked when my immune system had dropped low. Come in contact with so much bacteria, stay out your nose. Quack, quack, that's that. Keep your head up but learn to duck. I repent, falling back to my ways. I feel stuck. The first time I had sex was in my 20s. Rarely give a fuck. Ran into luck. I'm running over every clover in my Range Rover's path. It ain't over till it's over. I'ma make it last. Endless, you know that I'ma never stop. Nomadic in nature, bitch, I will settle not. From nothing to something to maybe everything. I'll advocate for the angels in hopes that the heaven sings. Whenever my time shall come, I'm already set. Take your time and smell the flowers that you never get. Hellbound, but I'm heaven sent.
I have a question.
Girl, I'm recording. That's what I mean right there.